right, all right. Just bear with me a second, guys. Justin had a little bit of a meeting this morning, so I'm actually just getting a little bit of a late start, and I need to get us onto the group. Perfect. There we go. Mute that. Find our Facebook group. Anybody got any good stories? How was any holiday stories? I know we were all stuck inside the house, not able to do a whole bunch of anything, but all right, I got everybody now. All right, mic check, 1 2 1 2. Everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Hey Jason, how you doing, man?
Hey, good, Victor. Good to see you.
Likewise, buddy, likewise. You been grinding it out during these holidays?
Trying to, yeah. Honestly, I'm glad to get on the other side of the holidays. But yeah, yes, sir.
I'm not a fan either.
Yeah.
It's nothing but stress and turmoil and
Yeah, I agree.
I hate to be the Grinch, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward. You got goals and everything set up for the coming year. You ready to get out?
Working on them. Working on getting those in line a little better, so I can start going after them. Yep. I think that's probably one of the the toughest challenges for me is really staying on track.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Just kind of, you kind of have to set your sights on something. And what I find, and I have the same problem. So what I try to do now is just not be on overwhelm. Just don't try to have every single resolution, this list of 20 things that I want to get done for the year. And, usually none of them get done. So I decided this year I'm going to focus on basically 3 things that I want to get done for this year and just, focus on it. The number one thing being is to get my business on complete and total autopilot so that I can just focus on developing relationships with lenders, relationships with investors, and basically just move my business to being a more of a middleman. I mean, not be so dependent on direct to seller stuff, because I think this market is going to be different this year, and with coming out of this pandemic and with all of the stuff that's going to be going on, I think we'll have an opportunity to get some deals, but it's going to be a little bit different. So I think it's going to be important that you have enough stuff coming in, co-wholesaling some stuff, some direct to seller stuff, and, take the time to build your relationships with your buyers. I think that's going to be vital, that by the end of this year, if you're going to set any goal, it should probably be to get a really, really strong buyers list. And what I mean by a strong buyers list basically is people you have actual relationships with, not just people on a list, not just people who you're, downloaded from PropStream or some other service, but some real people who you've had the time to, taken the time to talk to, create relationship with, find out what their criteria is. If there's an opportunity to rub palms, that's what you should do. Those opportunities are obviously going to be very limited in terms of this COVID thing, because it looks like we're going into another little phase of heavy COVID before we're able to figure this thing out, get everybody, in shots and everything else. And then, of course, we have all of the anti-whatevers who are probably going to make it last longer than it should, whatever. Our job, though, for as far as real estate investors is You know, let's find your niche, get strong in whatever it is that you're doing, and then build that buyers list. If I was promote anything here today to you guys, it would be, you know, do whatever you have to do to create relationships with people who can cut checks. Because it's going to take the strain off of you worried about what happens if I get a deal, you know, trying to get a deal perfectly formulated on the front end. All that's not, you know, you want to, at this stage of the game, I think it would really behoove you to be a shopper. You know exactly what somebody's looking for, be able to eliminate all the stuff that's just noise, because there's, you know, people are bringing deals all the time. You guys have probably seen them in a lot of the groups and stuff like that, you know, deals with little to no skin left in them and everything. And you have to have enough deals in your pipeline or enough relationships to know exactly what it is that you're looking for, so you're not caught up in the minutia of the noise of all the other things and all the, you know, possibilities and the shiny toys. And you know, I think that's a business killer. That's a game killer for us, because, you know, most of us need to do at least 2 deals a month, right? Because most of us are trying to do this thing, like, you know, at least somewhat full time, you know, or heavy part time, with a goal at some point to either move to full time, bring a wife home, bring a husband home, you know, different goals in that realm. To do that, you have to do at least 2 deals a month, and you know, and I'm thinking $5,000 profit to you per month or per deal. That's $10,000 a month. By the time you back out taxes and everything else, you're still only at 5,000, right? So that has to be your focus. And the simplest way to get it done is to make sure that you always have an outlet for your deals. My goal for this year is basically to just, by the end of this year, I know a ton of buyers. I know their criteria like the back of my hand, and I'm basically just filtering through wholesale deals, filtering through deals that I am actually direct to seller on. Here's the advantage of that. If I'm direct to seller on a deal and I know exactly what deal I'm looking for, I don't waste a bunch of time. I don't waste a bunch of energy, and I don't allow my mind to start telling me that I have a deal that ain't no damn way it's a deal. And it's not a deal because I don't have a buyer, right? None of these things that we do, none of these phone calls that we make, nothing that occurs happens, that matters if we don't have a buyer on the other end. How do you know you have a buyer on the other end? You put together a deal that's viable. Hey, Philip, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Good, Victor.
Did you get my response to your question?
Yes, thank you very much. I'm just trying to set up kind of like a lease option credibility kit, just to send out offers. You know, even though they may say no you know, I'm gonna just send that out so they can have something, and maybe they call me back. So that's what I was working on there.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, and I'll let you ask your question, but I thought that was a really good point that you're making. So what Philip is doing right now is he's putting together some credibility for himself, so that when he goes out there and introduces the concept to somebody who's not familiar with it, they come back and look at information that he provides to them and gets their questions answered on the front end. So he asked me a question about some of the things that he should put inside this particular package. And I suggested to him that he not put it in there. And the reason why I suggested that particular answer to that question was, you need to know that answer, but you don't need to prompt that answer.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. That's why I asked. I was like, oh man, this one sounds, I don't know if I like it, you know.
The more stuff you give them to think about, the more stuff they think about.
Right.
Right. And that's not where you want to be in a conversation where you're trying to close a deal. You know, if they bring it up, now you have the answer. You know, you saw, you know, what you wrote was perfect. That's the answer.
Right.
But you don't want to say, oh yeah, look, by the way.
Yeah. Exactly. You don't want to give them thoughts of horrible things that could go out in the future. So just keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Know what answer is necessary, if in fact it's necessary. Remember that usually whenever they ask a question, the canned guts response is, that is a great question. You asked that for a reason. May I ask you why?
All right.
That's always the answer.
So
that's always the answer. You know, the first thing you're doing is you're acknowledging them for asking you this magnificent question. You know, you're, oh, that is such a great question. That's amazing that you asked that, right? So now, you know, now they're edified. You know, and then you said you must be asking that question for a reason, which you're going to assume that, you know, something must have happened that, you know, that's now, you know, that's now a problem for me, right? For you, right? And then you put it right back in their lap. Like, okay, like, you know, why are you asking that question? And then the follow-up is, if I can give you a acceptable answer to that question, can we go ahead and move on? Can we go ahead and sign this agreement today? Is that something we can do, or maybe not?
Yeah.
See, so you can see, you saw what I did there. It's just a simple process. Acknowledge them, restate the question, or ask them why they're asking the question, put it back in their lap in terms of, you know, can you tell me a little bit more about why this is an issue for you? Like, you know, why is this coming up right now?
Right.
And then before you answer the question, you get a commitment from them. If I answer that question, is that something, can we move on from there?
Yeah, I've noticed the conversations that I'm having.
Yeah.
They always go on a different. It's not like cutthroat. Well, for me, I'm a straightforward person, and I'm trying to change my strategy there, as far as because the conversation usually doesn't go like you want it to go. You know what I mean? You're asking, and then all of a sudden you're off on a tangent or whatever. So keeping them focused on what you're talking about is what I'm working on right now. So
yeah. And you know, sometimes you can't help it. I tend to be a talker too, and sometimes I find myself getting into conversation because, especially, and this is something you probably notice, if you call into the flyover states, they are the nicest people in the world.
Yeah, and you just want to have a conversation with them. You know, it just flows.
It just flows, and you have to manage that. I mean, sometimes it's just like what you want to do. I like having good conversations. You know, especially with COVID, you don't get a chance to have really good conversations. Sometimes I'll just have the conversation or whatever, but always keeping in mind that I'm trying to move towards a particular end, right?
Right.
But the idea obviously is, and I'll put up the little diagram that I use in order to just sort of spell out what it is that we're trying to accomplish whenever we're on the phone with people. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys have seen this 1,000 times. We do this every time I'm on here.
1,001 now.
Hey, what's up, Philip? How you doing, buddy? What's going on, man? All right.
Yeah. So it's 1,001 now for the new year. 1,001.
1,001. Yeah.
Hey, well, my original question though, Victor, was
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Philip.
Was as far as when you said knowing cash buyers. Now, having conversations with them, but if you're doing lease options, usually the cash buyer or is going to be a tenant buyer. What would you suggest? Do you suggest like creating like a funnel to get these people to fill out a thing so you know if they're available? You know, if you get a deal for a lease option and then being able to sell to a tenant buyer, should you create some kind of funnel so they can, on a website, that you can collect people who are looking to do kind of like a lease option, or just basically a Facebook thing?
Great question. So there's a couple of ways that you can go about that. What I'm finding, and you guys have probably seen this now, is that we live in a digital world. Yeah. So people are very attached to credibility. So whatever you can do to improve your credibility is probably going to work to your advantage. So landing pages, like, when you think landing page, I don't know if that's necessarily what is going to move somebody to something, right? You're probably, you can send them, you're probably doing better off doing something like a LinkedIn and create some credibility, right? Because that's really the question. The landing pages and stuff like that, and I have a couple that, I can send you guys the links or put them in there, and they're informational pages. And the reason I use these particular 2 pages, one is seller, one is buyer. They have the text of explaining like kind of how you're doing on your credibility package. I have a website that actually does that, so I just send it there.
Nice.
But one of the things that the website has, and the reason I continue to use it, because it also has the audio of all of the text. So if you're not a reader, you can just listen to the audio and it's going to tell you everything that's on the text. It's not super long. It doesn't have 13, 14 pages, none of that stuff. It just says, if you're interested, put your information here. End of story.
Okay.
So in terms of credibility, if you can develop any kind of credibility, then that's exactly what you want to do, because people are looking for your credibility. So if you want to do a credibility package, it can be in the form of an email. Put together a standard email that has an introduction to you, what you've done, who you work with, whatever, and just send that out as an email, right? Just for something that they can do. Look, I'm not great on websites. I don't really do the whole website thing or whatever, but here's who I am, here's what I do, here's what I've done, and I'll be willing to answer any questions you might have for me. So my point being, don't overthink it. Don't think you have to have 17 landing pages out, on the web someplace that somebody's gonna, justify you. Obviously, if you can do Facebook, which is the go-to place for a lot of people, like everybody will end up going back to Facebook to find out who you are. In the last 2 months, I think I've talked to maybe 8 to 10 prospects who told me, oh yeah, I already looked you up on Facebook. Oh yeah, I already saw you on YouTube. And I'm like, damn, I just texted you yesterday, right? And they've already done this research. So now I'm starting to see that, yeah, that's really good. But to piggyback on that conversation too, if we start talking about leads and attracting business, I am in the Claude Diamond School of Attraction Marketing at this point. Because everything else, the cost to do business with every other type of lead, except maybe for lease options on, publicly available for sale by owner sites, every other lead, by the time you close a deal on it, you could be up anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000 in the cost of the deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You go after pre-foreclosures. First of all, you know that you're swimming in a pool of sharks. Everybody else also is going after that pre-foreclosure, right? You've got to create something that has people want to come to you, right? And this is something that Claude teaches, and I've come to agree with the fact that this is the absolute best way, is to have somebody actually come to you. They'll be sitting next to their table with all of the postcards and everything in there, but they still would rather reach out to you than you reach out to them.
Right.
Because now you're just in my space. Now you just bothering me. Now you're just trying to make some money off of me. Yeah. You know how folks are. They're like, no, I'm not with that.
So when you say cash buyers, you're talking like a wholesale deal.
Yeah, I'm talking because I mean, in your search, and I'll ask you this question: in your search for lease option deals, have you run across or had the opportunity to do any other deals at all?
Yes. Yes, ugly house deals or whatever, where I see
or subject to deals or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not there yet, but if I do come up with something like that, I usually get a hold of people in the group that know how to do a subject to deal or a wrap or whatever.
Exactly.
And refer to them or something.
Imagine if you came across a subject to deal just as part of your regular activity, and you knew that you had a couple of buyers that were already cash positioned to be able to turn that deal for you. So now it's just a matter of, okay, look, I think I have a deal for you. How would you like to ideally structure it? And they'll tell you how to ideally structure it. You go back and present.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Okay. So if you did that and you ended up with 5 or 6 more deals during the year, what would that do for you?
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why I say what I'm saying, and also understand that while the lease option deals they're sweet, the sandwich deals are really sweet because you can maximize your return on that. But a straight lease option, you're probably going to be looking at $5,000 to $10,000, one time going into the deal, and then the deal is over.
Right.
If you run across a deal that can make you $50,000, you want to be able to pull the trigger.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? You want to be able to pull the trigger. So in other words, in your business, you have departments. You have, your marketing department, acquisitions, you have dispositions, sort of either they're mental or they're actual, right? But that's the process of that. So you want to make sure that you have a department that nurtures buyer relationships.
Right.
Like a department, right?
Yeah.
Like, look, I have to spend at least, let's say, if I was to break it down by day, I need to spend at least 1 day a week nurturing or taking care of or working in the buyer department.
Right.
Hey, Victor.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, buddy? Mag here.
Hey, man, what's up, bud?
How you doing? Don't have much time. It's my lunchtime, but
hey.
I got 2 questions for you real quick.
Sure.
So, first one is basically, on the gut system. I've been, doing some phone calls.
Okay.
I've been seeing the sometimes on the guts, you can get a kind of aggressive, on people, like on the first 3 minutes.
Yeah.
How can we kind of measure the line in actually not being too aggressive, and and kind of do the right system right for guts, and not being, because my personality, sometimes I go fight or fly, and I kind of want to not go too aggressive into it.
Yeah.
That's the first question, and the second one is sometimes people don't know what they want, and even when I ask them, and when you said, what are you looking for, right, in this deal, and they don't know, they kind of throw the question back at me, and and when I try to reverse so I don't have to flip flop back into the question.
How do they throw it back on you? Throw it back on me.
So basically it's like so if you ask what are you looking for, I don't know, what are you looking for?
They'll say, like, what are you offering?
Yeah, what are you offering? What are you looking for?
That's a great question. You mind if I ask you a few questions? You can ask me a few, and what I'd like to do is put together something that creates a win-win for both of us. By the time I finish asking you these questions, we should be there. Is that something we could do, or maybe not?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, how long have you been trying to sell the property?
Basically, 3 months.
3 months. Okay. Is that a problem for you?
No, I'm waiting for the right buyer.
Okay. So you right now, if you didn't sell this property for another 4 months, you'd be okay with it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for the right person, so I guess I'll sell it before 4 months.
I totally understand that. That's great. What is the right person for you? What does he look like?
And I wanted to sell it outright, not looking to do any creative deals.
Okay, all right. Well, that's something we can definitely talk about. If I was to walk up to you right now and put a bag of cash at your feet, how much would need to be in there for me to be able to walk away from this owning a house and you going on about your life? What's that number?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to sell it what the house is worth. The house is worth 250.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna sell it for like less than that.
Okay. Well, I totally get that, and I really appreciate you being honest with me. But I'm a real estate investor, and I'm obviously in the business. This is what I do to feed my family. So it doesn't sound like at this point there's really an opportunity here for me. But what I'd like to be able to do is maybe follow up with you to see if, in fact, in 3 or 4 months, if at that point you haven't gotten what you wanted for the property, perhaps we can revisit this conversation. That's something we can do?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a pleasure talking to you. Here, let me get your email. I want to stay in touch with you. I'll just send you some information, and you'll have a way to reach me in case at whatever point you decide to move forward with this. I'd love to do business with you. And,
all right. Sounds.
Yeah. Can you give me your email?
Yeah.
Perfect.
ilovevictor@gmail.com.
You're the man. I can't wait. I can't wait for us to do some business now. So okay. So
all right.
With the answers that you gave me, and I know you're short on time. With the answers that you gave me, and this is where I want to go with you guys. We're looking for deals, guys, not yeses. Yeses are different than deals. Do you get that? Because somebody can say yes, but if it doesn't result in creating a deal environment, something that you can profit from through either acquiring it for yourself or selling it to an investor who has a particular criteria, and that criteria needs to be met, you don't have a deal. All you have is a piece of paper, right? You're not going to be able to move it. You're going to basically be the only thing that you can do at this point is say, okay, if I sell it, would you be willing to share something with me? Well, that's not a deal.
Yeah. The
right?
flex option.
Yeah, you can do an option on
marketing option.
Yeah, exactly. Where you're just basically, they're not obligated to necessarily sell to you, but if in fact you find a buyer, you have the option to purchase at a particular price.
What would you send them on the email, Victor? Like, what would you send them on the email as a follow-up?
It was amazing speaking with you today. I really, hope that you get everything you want as far as your property is concerned. But just in case you run into a situation where, maybe some flexibility arises for you, I'll be more than happy to speak with you about what we could possibly structure to allow you to have a win in this transactions. Thanks for taking the time, Victor. Phone number, website.
Okay, perfect.
That makes sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah, just just something to stay in touch. If you have a system that does automatic marketing type thing where you send out an email every month or whatever, just send them some marketing information from here's the deal about marketing information. Marketing information from a investor point of view. Don't send them realtor shit. Unless you're a realtor.
Right.
Right? Whatever you send them, you want to trumpet the virtues of dealing with an investor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second question about the aggressiveness on the guts. Remember?
Yeah, well, as far as being aggressive, I think you should be aggressive to the degree that you can be aggressive. If that's not your personality, understand that aggression is not necessarily a personality, but you're aggressively seeking a solution, right? You're aggressively seeking an answer to a question such that you can make a decision whether or not you want to move forward. So, being aggressive, you don't have to be like, look, I need, I need to get an answer from you right now. Otherwise, we don't have anything we can talk. You can be aggressive in that sort of way, or you can simply say, look, I don't want to waste a bunch of your time or whatever, and kind of just set the stage. And you can kind of do that on the agenda stage, right? You're setting the agenda to let them know that I am going to, make this as quick and painless as possible. I'm gonna ask you a few questions, please. You have the permission to ask me a few questions. And if it's a match, we'll continue the conversation. If not, we can part as friends. Is that something we can do, or maybe not?
Right.
So when you say, and again, if you have a couple more minutes, give me an idea where you felt like, or the situation occurred where that internal conversation about aggression came into play.
Let me see if I can think of the other day. I think it was like a deal that I was a lease option, right? And where
Okay.
I was trying to explain to the guy, and I wasn't going to explaining mode, but I was like, okay, what if I'm be able to rent it for you for like 24 to 36 months, and then buy it from you towards the end of the term. And then he's like, well, no, I heard that before. That's a scam. I don't know,
Okay.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I do this every day, and I hear that a lot. You said that for a reason. Why do you think it's a scam?
Well,
Did
yeah.
something happen? Did something happen with you or someone that has you, have that opinion about this conversation?
Yeah, I've had a friend of mine doing it, and it didn't work out for him.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, what part of it didn't work out?
I don't remember, but it just didn't work out, and he told me it was a scam.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, first of all, I do this all day, every day, and I do it nationwide, so it's definitely not a scam, but I could definitely see how someone who does not have experience with it or has not gone through the process or know anyone who has successfully navigated this process could possibly look at it as a scam. Can we do this? If you have any particular questions that I need to answer for you in terms of how this works, whether or not it's a scam, how this process is in place, I could answer any question that you have and relieve you of all that angst. Is that something we can move forward with? And I'll answer all your questions. I promise you that.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, all right. So what is your first concern? There is a concern. Is it a money concern? Do you think somebody's going to cheat you out of your money, or what's really gnawing at you in terms of that?
No, I think it's a money concern. Yeah.
And tell me more about that. Money concern in what way?
Basically, I need money now for the house.
Okay, so that's a different conversation than this is a scam. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, so what I suggested, I get it. That's not, so right now, a lease option or a term situation that will actually allow you to get your full price for the property, and even above that, because understand that everything that you'll be getting on a monthly basis will be at least what it takes for you to pay your mortgage, which in turn will allow you to gain more equity by the time you actually sell it. So you'll actually be selling above market. Does that appeal to you in any way, or maybe not?
Nah, I still think it's a scam.
Okay, I get that. So what would it take for us to do business today, other than me, cutting you a check for the full price of your property? Is there do you see a way that can occur?
Yeah, I probably I'll probably gonna have I'm gonna have to talk to my wife about it, and then I'll get back to you. Objections.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to just bust out laughing, but you know, obviously, like I said, I do this a lot. The truth of the matter is that every time I've heard that, I've never heard back from the person ever again. So I hope. So let's do this. It's clear that you're looking for something that I may or may not be able to offer you at this time. So, you know, let's make a decision. Either we're going to do some business today, or, you know, you're going to wait for the perfect buyer at the perfect price and the perfect circumstance. And I get it if that's the case, you know, because I'm an investor. So I'm obviously looking for something that's going to, you know, benefit both of us at the same time. And right now, it doesn't sound like we're having that conversation. Am I off track with that?
No, I think you're right.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I wish you all the luck in the world in selling your house. So I don't need to finish that. My point again goes back to this, guys. This is going to be most of your conversations, especially because if you look around you, it is a seller's market. Most of these people don't feel like they need to do anything outside the box. They can just wait because every realtor is in their ear. Every news feed that they see is telling them the same thing. They have that belief system. So our job basically, and Mag, I really appreciate you coming in. You always come in with such value. The main thing about what
it's because basically it's because I've been doing those phone calls, you know, and I wanted to kind of bring it to you guys and bring it to you too, Victor, and that's what I've been getting.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're on the right track. You're asking the right questions. You're talking to a number of people. But you know, in this market right now, honestly, guys, we're looking for a needle in a needle stack. So it becomes a little bit more difficult. You're going to be making a lot more calls to get to the results that you're looking for. But understand that all you can do is continue to improve your skills, build that muscle, because the environment dictates that right now there are not that many people who feel that they have to make a deal. Most people, because of what they're seeing in the media, because of what the neighbor did, because the guy down the street had a sign up for 2 weeks and it was gone, you know, and the other neighbor down the other street had a bidding war for his house. So it creates a mentality, and that mentality is all over the country right now. So we literally have got to look for that person who has enough flexibility in their program or is fed up at that level, you know, that they actually want to do a deal. So that's just the environment that we're in. What Mag is experiencing, I'm pretty sure what everybody on this call is experiencing. It's the same thing. Parsh, were you going to say something? I saw you unmute yourself.
Yeah, I could say that. It's the same thing. A lot of people, like I spoke to a lady a couple of days ago, and she had a property that needed some significant work, but yet she was still trying to negotiate a cash offer with a lot of work that needs to get done. So I said, well, I sent her an offer, but what I did, I added the Zillow comps, Realtor comps, Realtor.com, Redfin, just to let her see that what you're saying is not what the market is saying. And then I just left the offer, let it sit with her.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Horace. That was exactly what the market looks like right now. So all you can do is put the offer in her lap and, you know, bank on that reality will have to set in on her behind at some point, and she's going to, you know, ideally something occurs that now makes your deal look attractive. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. And continue to make the phone calls and everything. Trust me, I think anybody who's working this business consistently has the exact same story. like especially if you're looking for the pretty house deal in the pretty house environment.
Yeah, I get guys that's rattling off what the house 2 blocks sold for, what the a realtor is telling him if he waits until springtime, what he can get. He probably can get an extra $30,000. That's the kind of conversations I'll be having.
Exactly. That's the kind of conversation we're all having, Vernon. And that's just, again, it's a market phenomenon, right? It is Absolutely. What it is. You know, people are seeing this heated market. They're hearing stories about bidding wars for houses. You know, they're all of that stuff. So many of them are delusional. Right. So at this stage of the game, consider that all we're doing right now is building the muscle. And then there's going to be an environment that's going to occur within short order where we're going to be able to use the skill set and all of the price that we pay to our advantage.
I don't have the whole $4,000. I'm not going to bullshit you.
All right, I'm gonna mute Vernon just so you don't. I don't want to be in his conversation. Hey, you guys got any other role play scenarios? I know, you know, if you guys been on the phones, anybody have any scenarios that maybe you want to work through, you didn't know how to answer, or, you know, you want to, you know, take a look at maybe how you could have handled it differently, anything like that?
Victor, this is Moises.
Hey, Moises, how you doing, buddy?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, man. Good. Thank you for being here.
It's a pleasure. So how would you answer to those, you know, they'll give you an overpriced price to it, and they might not know, you know, what the real price is. Like if you know, they say the houses were $288,000, and I go and, you know, do my comparables, and I can, you know, and I see that the house is only worth 180 or 200, I guess. How do you make that person comprehend that that's not the right price?
Okay, so
how do you call it back?
My first response is, and this is just something that I do. You can do something similar, but my first response is, oh, okay. Did you just recently have an appraisal done? You know, have you recently paid for an appraisal?
Okay.
Just ask them that. Have you recently paid for an appraisal? So there's a couple of things implied there, right? One is you're not a professional. 2, you have not hired a professional. And 3, so you kind of want to start, you know, breaking down their little, you know, sacred cow that they think they can sit on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the first thing. And then you say, okay, look, I'm looking at some numbers here, and they don't seem to be in line with what you're telling me. Tell me again how you came to the value you're quoting me.
Well, all of the houses around the neighborhood going for that much, so I'm assuming my house should be worth that much.
Okay, so when you say around the neighborhood, you mean that the houses are, your house is just like that, the condition they're in, the quality of care, everything is matched up to the houses you're referring to?
That I don't know, sir.
Okay. So that's kind of, you know, when we do comparables, what we call comparables in the industry, basically we compare your house to an equivalent house, a house in the exact same condition that has sold ideally over the last 90 days. Does that make sense?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
So if that makes sense to you, I'm looking right now online, and in fact, if you are you at your computer right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Well, here, why don't you pull up Zillow real quick, and let's go ahead and put your address in. See,
okay.
Now, this is an assumption that you've gone on Zillow and you verified that this house is nowhere near that price.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or if not, you say to them, look, okay, so I'm looking at a property right here. It's on 2nd Street, which I believe is a less than a quarter mile from you. Now this house has been completely rehabbed. It's been stripped from top to bottom, has a brand new roof, has everything, and it's going for the same price that you're quoting right now. Do you see how we might be a little bit off with that? See, because for me to get the house to the level that you have it, how much money do you think that would take?
Or
for me to get for me to get your house up to say 2021 standards?
I think, I'm not sure. I haven't done my research.
Okay, all right, so that makes sense. So let me do this. I'm gonna put a couple of I'm gonna put an email together. Let me have your email address real quick.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Moses at
Okay.
Gmail.
All right, great, Moses. I'm gonna put a couple of an email together, and I'm gonna include some pictures or some links in the email for you to kind of take a look at some properties that are similar to yours, that are more in line with the condition of yours right now. And I'm not in any way disrespecting your property at all, but I just want to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples.
Yeah, thank you so much, Victor. That's a good idea. Sending, offer to send an email with the comparables.
Yeah.
The way they can see.
They can see them.
Yeah, because I remember the guy said he purchased, I think it was a condo. He purchased the condo for a lower price due to COVID, and he was now putting it for sale, but it was just overpriced. It was like over $50,000 over. I mean, like
over your market,
over the rest of the condos
in the same unit.
There. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, how are you coming up with this number? And he's looking to sell, but it's just the price not right. So just wanted to ask you if.
Okay, so that's okay.
I don't want to just let it go.
Yeah, I see that your property it looks like it's about $50,000 above everybody else's property. Man, why should I buy yours?
Okay.
Now I'm moving into reluctant buyer. Now you have to talk me into buying this shit.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna tell me that your property is $50,000. You're gonna charge me $50,000 more. Now you got to talk me into buying it. Why should I buy your property? What makes your property, that wonderful? Is there something that I'm not seeing?
It's a big difference because my property is on the first floor. You don't have to go up the stairs.
Okay, I get that.
And it's right next to a hospital too.
Aren't they all next to the hospital?
Yeah, but mine's on the first floor.
I get it. Yours is on the first floor.
When you do your groceries, you don't have to go up the stairs. So that makes it a difference.
Let me ask you.
The pool is right next to it too.
Would you pay $50,000, or would you walk up one flight of stairs?
That's a good question. That's a good question.
Come on,
It
man.
depends.
Nobody's paying $50,000 to avoid one flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, have fun with it, but it's like, come on, man. Are you really telling me right now that you want me to pay $50,000 to avoid one flight of stairs? I'm still young enough to be able to do a flight of stairs. That's not going to kill me. So tell me again why I should pay $50,000.
I just recently painted the house too.
Okay. How much did that set you back?
A few thousands.
But you want me to pay $50,000 for it? You know what? I totally get it, man. You got what you wanted. You know what you want to get for your property, and it sounds like you're willing to, wait a little while. I'm assuming you're willing to wait as long as you need to, right? This is not a problem for you. You're not, you're not strapped for cash or anything like that, are you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, notice where we are. Unmotivated. Okay, so if you guys are looking at my screen, you see the seller motivation level. Where are you going to put this guy right now on that seller motivation level?
Maybe 3.
Exactly.
Or the most.
He is a hang up, and I don't mean like hang up in his face, but his conversation's over, bro.
I mean, you can already tell. You can already tell he's not motivated because of the price.
Because of the price, you know,
Right
he
there.
has. And when I ask you the question,
I just wanted to ask you about it because it just didn't make sense. I really thought that he was, I did all this conversation without me doing my research. After I hang up the phone, that's when I found out, his price is 50,000 over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, no, this guy we're on the wrong page.
Yeah, that's fine. And
Yeah.
you know, even in situations like that, I wrote it up, you know, while I had him on the phone or whatever, because I use a system that allows me to go ahead and do that and send it over, right? All right, but you have so many weasel clauses in most of our agreements that it's like, there's no way I can pay above market value, because understand that, first of all, it's going to need to be appraised because I'm going to finance this. So it's not going to appraise for the price that you're asking for. So everything above that appraisal, I would have to come out of pocket in on top of the 20% that it would take to fund this. That's not something I'm looking to do. Thank you anyway, though.
The main question to ask after they tell you a price is like, have you done an appraisal?
Yeah.
That's what I need to ask.
Have you paid for an appraisal on the property?
Have you paid for an appraisal? Okay.
Yeah, the key is, have you paid for an appraisal on the property, right? Because there's so much implied in the background of that conversation. Like, I haven't paid. No, I'm not a professional. No, I haven't, taken advantage of the services of a professional. So yeah, I'm just, blowing hot air right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's the best bet. I guess I can call him and get an email and show him, send him an email with the comparables. Look, this
you can, if you want to take the time to do that. That could probably be time better spent on the phone, getting somebody who actually, you know what I mean? There's no point in dealing, and because it's whatever you decide to do, you're going to have to put it together, right?
Yep.
Is he worth it?
Maybe not.
I would say closer to
even if you take those 50,000 out of it, we're sticking to the full market price.
Yeah. So did you ask him any other questions in terms of, and I don't know if you would have needed to go here, but did you ask him, is he willing to carry back any of the financing himself? Does he own it outright, or does he have a mortgage on it? Is he willing to do a
owner's finance
rental for a period of time and then get full price for it at the end of that term? Is that something we can talk about, or maybe not?
Yeah, he wasn't interested in that.
Yeah, see,
he's done it, but not for this property. He said, I'm not doing it for this house.
He's moved from a 3 to a 2 now. he's sliding the scale in the wrong direction.
I might as well say I gotta go.
Yeah,
right.
But you know what? I appreciate you. Good luck with selling your property. You know that this is my best phone number. If in fact something happens and you want to talk about moving this property, quickly, I'll be more than happy to have that conversation with you. But right now, it doesn't sound like we're aligned in terms of what I need and what you need. Yep. But I appreciate the time.
Yep.
That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, and thank you very much, Moses, for bringing that up and allowing us to have that conversation. Really, really appreciate it. Just remember, guys, we're looking for deals. A lot of times we want to ask questions and we want to know, what we say to an unmotivated individual to get them motivated. Sometimes you just have to, if you can't uncover motivation, unless they just basically put it out there at a ridiculously low price because they didn't know any better and you just want to jump on it before somebody else sees that they don't know what they're doing.
It could be. That's what I'm thinking.
It could happen, right?
I mean, people can be way off, like let's say 8, 10,000, but not 50. Maybe he doesn't know what he's doing.
Hey, Victor.
Or he does, and hold on just 1 second for me. Or he does know what he's doing, but he doesn't have a need. He doesn't have a motivation or anything that's burning in his environment, in his space, that is moving him to do it. I'm good with it. I'm fine. I can afford to pay the rent. I make good money. You know, I'm gonna just hold off for, you know, what I get for it. I know what price I want. I'm gonna put it out here. It's a seller's market. I see people getting bid up all the time. You know, I'm gonna wait for a cash offer to come in and give me what I'm looking for. That's his mindset. He's not our guy. He's retail guy.
Yeah, he's gonna sit there and wait.
Yeah,
forever.
he's retail guy. He wants a retail cash buyer. Because remember what I just described to you also. If that property is actually worth $50,000 more, right? The lender is not going to lend above the appraised value. So if it comes in, let's say it's he wants 150, it comes in at 100, you have to do the 50 in cash before you even do the 20% for the loan in cash. If you're doing conventional financing, right? So now you look at 20%, which is in this case 20,000 plus the 50,000, so you're already at 70,000 before closing costs.
Yeah,
not a deal, bro.
Not worth it.
Not a deal.
No.
We're in the business of getting discount properties that we can either hold on to ourselves, lease option, or sell at a profit immediately. If it doesn't fit that criteria, it's a retail sale on to the next one, unless you're a licensed realtor and you take the listing.
Yep.
Right. Anyway, who was asking the question? Sorry about that.
Hey, Victor, how you doing? It's Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy, what's up, man? Good to see you. Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year's to you too, man. I'm glad that you got well.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate
No
the
problem.
support during that time too.
Of course. Hey, Victor, I want $1 million for my property, nothing less.
I can absolutely get that. Your property's probably worth that too, huh? You just got a recent appraisal done on it. You paid for it?
Now, my realtor actually told me the ins and outs as far as what properties in the area are selling for, and she said the least I can actually sell it for is $1 million. So I want $1 million for my property, nothing more, nothing less.
How much is the property worth?
It's worth when my realtor told me, she said it's worth $1,200,000.
Okay, so there's about $200,000 in equity in there. Is that what you're telling me?
Correct.
Okay. And if I was to agree to something like this, how would you want to get paid?
That's a good question.
Would you want all the cash and pay all the the tax and everything that go with that, or would you be willing to do something a little more creative?
When you say creative, what is it that you mean?
Well, I mean, I could give you some money right up front, and whatever, we could talk about what it takes to do that, and then after that you can maybe carry back the financing.
Carry back, man. How long will this actually be if I happens to carry back the financing?
What are you comfortable with?
That's a good question.
Okay, so maybe I'll throw something out there. Is it something we can do for maybe 5 years?
5 years. Can we do it a little bit sooner than that?
What are you thinking?
I was thinking around 3 years.
Around 3?
Yes.
3 years. Okay. This is $1 million property. These kind of properties, they're not exactly bread and butter. I'll tell you what, can we split the difference and just meet me in the middle at 4 years? Can we do that?
Yeah, I really need 3 years.
Yeah, I get it, but I mean, if you can work with me a little bit, I think I can pretty much get you what you need. Here's the most important part, and this is what I've found in properties at this price point. There is and I don't know what your particular tax situation is or what might be, your financial condition right now. But if you take a whole lot of profit on this property right now, you understand you're going to be giving most of it back to Uncle Sam, right?
Yeah, I understand that part.
Yeah. How much do you
I
owe?
purchased properties before. I understand the process of. That's one thing I don't like doing, but hey, I understand the process. We
How
all
much?
got to
How
pay
much do you owe
taxes.
on it?
Huh?
How much do you owe on it?
The property is free and clear. I own this
Oh my
property for at least
God.
30 years now. You know, I own multiple properties. It's why I'm an investor. So this is what I do for a living. I buy and
Okay.
sell. But this
Okay,
property
good.
right here in particular, I want to sell.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad you said that because now we can talk like real people, and now you understand the language that I'm speaking. I really, really appreciate that because many times when I talk to, when I talk to people about this stuff, they don't really know. So, are you in a position? Tell me what is your tax strategy on this deal? Because you understand that right now, if I was to cut you a check for $1 million on this property, you would take home about 600,000, right?
Well, you know, to be honest, I'm not worried about the tax strategy. I just want to see if you could actually solve my problems. In 3 years, I really want this house that's off my hand. I got
Okay.
plans to, go to Paris, family, and we're planning to liquidate most of the properties. But this
Oh,
big
that's
property right here I have right now, I just want to get rid of it. I just want to know, can you solve my problem? Yes or no?
I can definitely do something with your property. Let's talk about the structure, the structure of the deal, because it sounds like you got a little bit of equity.
Okay.
You want $1 million for the property. You're willing to carry back some of the financing. What are you looking at on the down payment?
You know, I understand you an investor, and I know you
Yeah.
want to make your money. I'm not
Yeah.
looking to get no deposit. I'm
Okay.
cash flow. Everything's fine with me. I'm cash flow positive in my bank account.
Oh, that's
I just want to
fantastic.
make sure I get $1 million in 3 years.
Absolutely.
How can
Absolutely.
you put the deal together so we can actually make it a win-win for just about
Well,
everybody?
what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put together some documentation, and basically all it would be a note.
Okay.
It would be a note that I would pay on. We would talk about the terms. In fact, we can talk about the terms right now. We're
Okay.
going to have it. Here's what I'd like to do. We have a 3-year payoff on the loan. I'd like to go ahead and amortize it over the full 30 years, though, and do an
Okay.
interest only payment. Is that something we can do?
We could do that. It sounds great.
Okay, great. So that's basically what's going to look like. I'll put together a note. It's going to be 30-year amortization, but it's going to be due in 3 years, and it's going to be interest only payments between now and then. And the home will act as the security.
Okay. Well, what happens after in 3 years? What happens after you?
Oh,
You
at 3 years, I would have refinanced this property, got you completely out of it, and cashed you out, for the full price that you and I discussed.
Okay. What happens if the market crash?
If the market crashes, what do you want to happen if the market crashes?
I'm not sure. Will we be? Will the price actually still be the same, or we have to negotiate? Just be honest with me. What would happen if things tank and prices drop? Will you still be able to purchase it at the same price?
When you say tank, that kind of scares me. But you obviously are a grown man and you're an investor. What will
Correct.
probably happen is I would probably come to you and I would probably look to renegotiate the property at something that's advantageous for the both of us.
Okay, then. I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when
Absolutely.
can we get started with the process? Is there's an attorney, title company?
Absolutely. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the agreement over. I want you to take a look at it, and I'd like to follow up with you a little bit later on this evening. Is that going to be enough time for you to review the documents?
Yes. I actually have my phone on me, and I
Okay,
take a
great.
look at it.
What is your best email?
My email is djohns@yahoo.com.
Perfect. djohns@yahoo.com. Is that correct?
At yahoo.com. So I just
And
want to
this,
confirm to make
uh-huh.
sure that you'll be able to, we're going to be doing it on the finance. You're going to be paying them. What about the monthly payments? How much you're paying every month?
That's a good question. How much do you need every month?
I don't know. You got to tell me
Well,
it's $1 million property.
you have the property. You have the property free and clear.
Yeah.
One of the things that is going to determine our payment, obviously, off the role play. You
Okay.
notice that I'm kind of making him sort of bring in, you know, what some of the stuff is. It's not that I don't know these things, and it's not that I'm not going to address them within the agreement or whatever. But if he doesn't know, I'm going to give him a basic template, right? I'm not going to put any interest in there whatsoever. If he wants interest, he's got to come back and ask me for some interest. I'm not even going to, many times I don't even suggest any interest. I'm going to just assume that we're going to do $1 million, no interest, or, you know, interest only amortized over 30 years, right? Right now, we still haven't gotten to an interest amount. So now we start to have this conversation because he has the sophistication to do it. If I was to do it on paper, I would send him over something with 1%. Only because I need to set an interest only payment, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So I would send him over something with 1%. So, you know, right now the market rates, Jimmy, are you know, they're in the you know, 3% range. I'd like to see if maybe I could do something that maybe 1.5.
1.5.
Yeah.
And how much will that be a month?
I'm going to assume that I have a calculator. I'm not going to do the calculation right now, but I think the payment on that is going to be around 2,200.
22.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But this property actually rents for $4,000 a month.
It rents for 4,000 a month.
4,000 a month.
Wow.
That's actually low. It rents a little bit higher, but the tenants that's in there right now, they're giving me 4,000 on this property a month.
Okay. So what are you saying to me? What are you saying to me?
So you're saying 25, you can actually do 25 and you'll be responsible for the taxes and insurance for the next 3 years, correct?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. Okay, that sounds great. 25. Okay.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
And you basically step off and you get your full price on or before the 36-month mark.
Okay then. That sounds good. I like that process.
All right, I'll get the papers drawn. I'm getting over to you. And we're reconvening at 5 o'clock, correct?
It's actually 1 o'clock now. Can we do it a little sooner?
Yeah. What's good for you?
Can we do it? You know, it's 1. Can we do it at least 2:30?
Oh, absolutely.
5 o'clock. I gotta pick up the kids.
I can tell right now that you're a businessman. I really appreciate the way you just go straight to the point and you know exactly what you're looking for. I'm going to really enjoy doing business with you. You're in the game, so we don't get this a lot, that we get to sit across from the table from somebody who has as much integrity and knows exactly what they're looking for. So I'm definitely excited about doing business with you. I know I don't have to worry about us reconvening. You're not going to ghost me at 2:30 or anything. As long as I put everything that I said on paper, we'll be able to reconvene at 2:30 and make a decision.
Yes, we're gonna be able to reconvene 2:30, make a decision.
I look forward to speaking to you at that time, Jimmy. It's a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was good.
Yeah. Any feedback, any input, anything that anybody wants to add or subtract?
A great role play, y'all. I got one question, Victor.
Sure.
Why'd you go to see what was the emotion behind it?
Yeah, I know. You don't ask me why.
You didn't see the why, because you could have adjusted the numbers on that deal.
His why was that he was liquidating. He's already in a very strong financial situation in terms of, he doesn't need the money. He didn't haggle with me about his monthly payment. So he didn't have an emotional why, like he had a train coming down a track. His why was basically liquidation. He was willing to wait for the time on this. I'm already looking at $250,000 on the plus side. Even if I could turn this deal around and pull out $100,000 out of this within the next month or so and get him paid, I'm good with it.
Yeah, just by listening to the conversation, I actually tell him most of my problems in a way.
Yeah, he basically told me all of his motivations, and he also
I need to go to Paris. I need to sell about 3 years from now so I can go with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm liquidating most of my properties and stuff. Like I already told him actually what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And he can actually solve my problem within 3 years.
Yeah. And I can turn this around. I have $250,000 or so of position on this deal. There's no need to haggle much more than that. And I got 3 years to figure it out at a price point that's below market rents. That's a deal.
That's a steal.
That's a steal.
Nice
There's no need to try to, do any more to this man. He basically brought me a gift horse, and I'm gonna look it right. I'm not looking it in the mouth. I'm gonna take my 250 and move forward with this deal. Because everything else that he kind of was he knew what he wanted. He knows what his position is. He's not a novice in the game of real estate. He knew exactly what he wanted to structure and how it would serve him. So he was good with it.
And I like how you understood what I wanted. You didn't ask no ridiculous questions. You got straight to the point.
Yeah. Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate that, man. You like I said, you always bring value, man. And that's such a good role play right there. And again, guys, as soon as he started, throwing the numbers out there, because I have a little bit of experience, at 250, I already know that I'm good. Here's the deal about a situation like this. If I now get this under contract, my contract still has weasel clauses. I need to get this under contract. I'm already in a great position if nothing else changes. I'm already in a good position. But if I should see an opportunity where something might, look, after doing my little bit of research, Jimmy, I found this. You know what I mean? I don't want to kill this deal. Is there some way we can maybe just make a little adjustment to account for, the fact that, it looks like we're going to be having to do a little bit more work than I anticipated? Is that something we can talk about or maybe not?
Yes, I'm pretty sure we can. Well, what is it? What have you found?
Well, I mean, when I was looking at the title report, it looks like, might have a little issue. Well, I don't want to necessarily go down this road. I think it wasn't so much a role play, but what I was trying to stress was the fact that once I got it under contract, and let's say that I go and do an inspection, right? And on the inspection, I find that, looks like we have there must have been a leak in the back or something, and it looks like it kind of eroded the soil. So I'm looking at some foundation right there. I don't know how much this is going to take to get it fixed, but obviously it's an issue for me. I'm thinking this might cost me as much as $50,000. Is that something we can adjust on the price, Jimmy?
50. Wow.
Yeah, that's how much I'm being quoted as far as the price of getting it repaired. When we made the deal, I assumed everything was 100.
Wow. Well, could you like meet me halfway? Could we at least do like 20? Can we do it at 25?
Jimmy, 25. Notice I never answer right away when it comes to the money, right? You never answer right away. Jimmy, can we do 35? Because this could I don't even know at this point. It could even be a deeper issue, man. I don't want to,
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Something unexpected.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
35. Wow.
Yeah. So that'll just take that'll take our price down to $965. Is that something we can do? We can do the finances. We can do the agreement at $965.
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. I know you are not only are you a professional, man, but you obviously get how to do this thing, and I really appreciate you working with me on this. And I'll get it all drawn up and get it over to you. If you need to see anything as to I'll even send you over the estimate if that's something that make you feel comfortable.
Okay, then. Sounds great. I'll be waiting on the paperwork.
All right.
Thank you for the update.
All right. So, that's basically how you play it. You do your inspection, if you find something, now you can go back and negotiate or whatever, you know, as far as sending over, Doc, I can get anybody to do me a $50,000 price point on an estimate. He just wants something to make him feel comfortable. Right now, he's just giving me a 35. I just got $35,000 more out this deal. So now I'm at two. Was that 285 in upside, assuming, you know, the value being exactly what he says it is. Or let's say that something else came up. Let's say that I actually went to go do some comps and I found out that the value wasn't quite what he said. Right? Now I go back to him and I say, Jimmy, I wanted to get back to you because you know, we talked about the value of the property being, you know, $1,250,000, but I'm not really able to find any values that are in that area. What are you looking at that kind of, you know, gave you? I know you said you spoke to your realtor, but you have anything concrete that you can show me?
Sure, I can actually forward you the comps that's in the area that my realtor actually provided to me recently 6 months ago. I could forward it over to you. You could take a look at it and
yeah,
you know, you go from there.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Thank you very much. See, so now we're in a conversation, and you know, in case I couldn't get the value I'm looking for, but he's telling me, again, being a professional, that he has some stuff that will validate the price point that he's asking for. I'm okay with that. Send them over. I'll take them apart and see if I can still negotiate beyond that point. So, you know, it's a process, especially when you're talking $1 million properties. Something else I want to say about $1 million properties, right? When you're dealing in $1 million property, you do not want to be the only $1 million property in your area. Like, that is not the game that you want to be in, where, okay, now, and you guys have seen it. I know you guys have been doing, you know, scrapes and searches and stuff, and you get into some places like in Alabama, you get to some place in Michigan, and, you know, it's the one-off house that's off the chains. Like, you know, it's got the balcony with the jacuzzi and the built-in barbecue pit and a big yard. And I mean, it's just off the hook. It's just fly as could be. But it's the absolute only one. Do you know how hard it is to find a buyer for a one-off like that? Even with a good deal, it is almost impossible to find a buyer unless you have at that point put in the work to build your buyers list, and you now are dealing with athletes, corporate executives, you know, doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, people who are in that particular category and live within a particular geography, right? So if you do enter into a deal like that, understand that those are the hardest deals for you to be able to turn over. Now, if I was to buy $1 million house in LA, yeah, first of all, it's just going to be a house. It's not going to be nothing special. It's not in LA. It's not going to be anything special, right? So that's a different environment. At that price point now, I have a whole bunch of buyers, right? I can put on Craigslist and find a buyer in LA, $4 million house. But if I'm in Georgia or Alabama or Mississippi, now I'm looking for that one specialty buyer, and I've just made my life very complicated. Doesn't mean I wouldn't take the deal and try to market it or whatever, because, you know, I have weasel clauses in the contract that I might have to use at some point, right? But understand that you are now dealing, you know, it's even hard to find, like, that guy is not on Facebook Marketplace. That guy is not on Craigslist. That guy is not in the normal places where you and I would advertise a bread and butter house. He's just not there. So unless you have a way, and you know, there are ways, you know, you start calling into some major companies, law firms, you know, things like that. People that provide housing for corporate executives, athletes. If you're in that environment, or if you know someone who's in that environment, I'm trying to create a relationship right now with a lady who buys properties for athletes, right? So that's a conversation that I could possibly enter into. But if I don't have that particular person on my team, this now becomes kind of daunting. And I've actually had this particular experience. I did it twice last year, and I ended up not selling either one of the properties. I couldn't find a buyer for either one of them.
Hey, Victor, I have a quick question.
Yep.
When communicating with a seller and they're disclosing to you all information, kind of like the previous two conversations, right?
Yes.
As you gather that information, in your mind, how do you decide if you want to lead with a seller finance offer that includes seller financing, or if you want to shoot for the lease option contract offer?
The price, the financing that's already existing on the property, and the motivation.
And I asked that because I have one on the hook.
Okay.
And so, you know, I already kind of initiated the conversation of seller financing.
Okay. Is there existing financing on the property now?
Yes. Okay. I don't know the exact amount, but I think he owes under 150,000.
And the property's worth?
ARV in the area is 250 to 270, but the property's been vacant for 7 years. He's been making, he has a first and a second. The first one he pays $1,100 a month. He didn't tell me the balance. I didn't really ask him either.
Right.
The second, he owes 15 grand and he pays 290 a month. And he, through the conversation, he lives in Wisconsin, the property's in Georgia.
Okay.
During the conversation, he disclosed that he is wanting to free up some of the debt, I guess, that's on his credit, and that he wanted to get rid of that $14,000 on the second mortgage. So it led me to believe in my head that, hey, I need to approach him with a $15,000 down and get into some seller financing with him. But he wants 250, although the house has been vacant for 7 years and it obviously is going to need something done.
Yeah. So
I haven't seen it.
So the after repair value. Now, I'm sorry. What did you say the after repair value was?
250 to 270 are the comps.
And he's asking 250.
240. He's giving me a discount. 240.
Oh wow. Okay. And how much work do you say it's going to need? How much you think you got to put into it to get it to 2021 standards, given that it's been vacant for 7 years?
He didn't give me a number. He gave me a list of things that it would need. You know, off the top of my head, I'm thinking that if, you know, at least it's going to be probably 25 grand for somebody to move in and live in the company.
So you're going to immediately ask that as a discount, right? So
you know, obviously, right? Hey, look, whether it's me living in there, anybody that's going to live in there, you're going to have to get the property livable.
You know, if I buy to you at full price and now I want to do anything with this property, now I'm fully above market value. I can't meet my appraisal requirement. I can't do anything. So, you know,
I'll never be able to refinance out of this one or refinance you out.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't want to start off behind the 8 ball on this. So, you know, we're looking at about $40,000 in repairs to bring this up to 2021 standards. So now we're at, you know, at 200.
Yeah, Victor, but I think you could get that done with 12 grand. You can take care of the work that the house needs.
I get that. And you know what? I do this a lot. I do a lot of rehabs. And right now, because of all of the costs of COVID and the fact that, you know, there's very few craftsmen available, I'm finding myself having to wait and I'm having to overpay to get it done, which increases my carrying cost. So you may have been right even a couple of months ago, but unfortunately, that's not what I'm seeing in the marketplace right now. You know, I'm really closer to about $40,000 on this.
40,000. I mean, I had some guys come by from home that I met at Home Depot. They told me they could get it done under 15 grand.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they could. And then I wouldn't have the kind of quality of craftsmanship and everything to allow me to maximize and also fulfill your obligations while also still you know, I'm an investor. This is how I feed my family. And I like to go into a deal and where we both understand where the opportunity is for both of us. So, you know, let me ask you, 15,000, I absolutely cannot get it done for 15,000 with any kind of quality. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I could always, you know, like you said, I can go to Home Depot and I could have to sit in the house and manage every nail that's put up. You know, that's not really how I work. I prefer to hire professionals that I can count on, that have reputations, that have done the type of work before. You know, so, you know, I said $40,000 and you said 15. Where can we meet halfway on the difference? Can we do that, Herbacio?
If we met halfway on the difference, I want 240 for the property. So you're saying that you'd be picking it up for.
Well, you said 240. We have to assume we're going to back out what it takes to make the house worth 240. If that's the full market value right now, I'm $15,000 away from there according to your estimates. So already I'm at 225, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because you know, I mean, I'm saying we're talking, you know, apples and apples, right? For me to get that house that's been vacant for 7 years to standards of 2021, making sure that everything's on point, you already have suggested to me that it's going to take $15,000 with some Home Depot help, which Correct. Is not the quality of work that I like to do. I suggested to you that it was 40,000. Right.
Which would bring us to 200, and I want, you know, obviously that's way off. I mean, I'm not going to go for that, Victor. I'm sorry.
Okay. What's the absolute best you can do given the circumstances?
Yeah, I can meet you. I can meet you halfway. Victor, can off the role play. I apologize, because I get where you're going with it. And awesome. I mean, that's a good way to approach the conversation with him. I also kind of lost just listening to you, right? But there's another roadblock that he put up.
Okay.
Which is when I told him, I can't remember right now. I think it had to do with the years. Yeah, let me look at my notes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm taking up
with the term of the financing.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So this is the other thing. The other one that he threw up there was he did tell me $1,100 on one mortgage payment. The other one, the second, is $290. We'll get rid of that, right? If I give him the $15,000 up front. Yep. He's like, properties are renting for $1,700 in this area, $1,700 a month. So it tells me he's gonna want to push on that part, the monthly.
Okay. All right. So if properties are renting for $1,700, once I get it up and running, you know, if you can carry the financing for me for about you know, can you do 5 years? I'd like to do 5 years on the financing and cash you out at full price. Is that something we can do, or maybe not?
I was thinking of less than that, but that's a possibility. I was thinking more like 3 years.
3 years. Okay, let's split the difference. Let's do 4 years, 48 months. That's something we can do.
Yeah, that is a big possibility. You know, as long as other things are following.
Perfect. And so, what are you looking for on a cash flow basis on a monthly? What would you be comfortable with, assuming that all the other obligations on the property were met?
Well, you know, my property is you know, it's can make it 7 bedrooms. You know, my quotes was you just need 12,000 to get this baby looking great. Other properties are renting for $1,700 a month. You know, I would love to. I could possibly do this, but I'd be looking to get somewhere in that area, 1,500 and up.
If I could write this up for 1,500 right now, guarantee everything, take everything off of your hands where you're cashing the check every month for $1,500. You've paid off the second mortgage. Can I go ahead and put that in an agreement and get it over to you, and we move forward on this right now?
I have to look over the paperwork. Can you send it over?
Yeah, I'll send it over to you right away. You'll have it within the hour, and then I'd like to follow up with you at about 6 o'clock this evening. Is that a good time for you, or are you in family time at that time? That
could work.
Okay, all right. I'll look forward to speaking with you at 6 o'clock. I'll get this together right now. So let me just sort of recap exactly what it is that we're doing. We're now working at a price point of what, 215?
After deducting what you think maybe the repairs.
What I need for repairs and everything to get it back up to standard. So we're looking at a price point of 215.
Yes.
Yeah, we're looking at you carrying back the financing. I'm going to pay off that first mortgage, that second mortgage. We're going to eliminate that completely, right?
Correct.
And then we're looking at doing the financing for 4 years, where you're going to receive $1,500 a month for that 4 years until I cash you out for the balance of the mortgage. That's exactly what we refer to, right?
Sounds like it. Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I'll put that all in writing and get that over to you right away.
Thanks, Victor. Victor, off the role play.
Sure.
And it may not be up to you, right? But off the numbers that I'm seeing and what you just said, do you think that that's a real offer that I can make him and still make some dollars? Well, is that a fair question for me to ask you?
Yeah, that is a fair question for you to ask me. Okay, so you're going to, so there's two ways to think about this process.
And I'm looking to assign the contract. I apologize. I am looking, my initial thought is to assign the contract.
Exactly. So that's it. And that's where I was going with it. So you're always looking at it two ways, right? One is, do I now have a sellable agreement that I can, put out into the marketplace, get a nice little chip for, be it 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, whatever it is that you've organized, right? Is this something that I can do? Okay, so in your case, let's go back and break it down a little bit, right? So you have a property that, once rehab and everything, you're going to be right at $250 in value.
Okay.
Right. So you've gotten the property at a $2,500 discount.
25,000. Yes.
$25,000 discount. But you've had to now put in how much? Because you're paying off that second of 14,000, right?
It'll be 14,000. Yes.
Okay, it'd be 14,000. So basically now you have got to, since you're already committed to 14,000, you can sell this for 20,000
and collect
take 6.
That's cool with me.
That's cool with you, right? You can sell it for 20,000, sell their contract for 20,000, take 6, pay off the rest, and now somebody has a property that they can cash flow every single month on a lease option, or you can sandwich it, right?
Yes. Correct. And I don't want to take up too much more time. I know there's more people on the line, but yeah.
You're good, huh?
So that would lead me also to, hey, should I approach him with the seller financing offer, or should I go lease option? Because maybe I can make some more money on a lease option with the sandwich lease.
Well, the first thing you have to look at is solving his problem, though, because he says part of his problem is that he wants to, improve his credit by getting rid of that second. Is that what we talked about?
That's one of the things first wants need. Yeah,
that's one of his primary motivators. So in the structuring, we have to resolve how are we going to get that done. So if we built in 14,000 right now, let's see, and we did it as a lease option at 250. You're looking at, if you can get 25% down, if you can get 10% down on 250, that's 25,000.
Yeah.
So you see where I'm going with that? So you have an opportunity there, because you can get the money back out on a $25,000 down payment, give him what he wants, and keep $10,000 for yourself.
I can do it that way.
If you price it at 250.
So then the final decision comes.
But then no, I'm sorry, because we still have the rehab on it. You can discount it by the amount of the rehab, the 15,000 or whatever, and put it out the door at 225 or 230.
Yep.
Something like that, as a fixer, as a handyman special style.
Lease option.
Yeah, on the lease option.
So I guess, and then at this point, it would kind of come down to the seller on whether he wants to go the seller finance route or the lease, depending on whether he wants to exchange title.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. So there's still a little bit to massage in there. He would have to agree with a lot of what you're doing, but the bottom line is going back to his problem. One, we're getting rid of that second mortgage for you right away. right? We're giving you, you know, the price that we agreed upon. You're going to get that, and you're going to get a regular monthly payment that's going to cover your current expenses and give you some pocket money on top of it.
So if he's looking to go get a loan or something, refi something, it'll show that these mortgages are being serviced. First, he got rid of the second mortgage, and that first mortgage, that 1,100, is being serviced.
You service on time payments every month.
In order to show that to an institution, right, an institutional lender or whatever, does it have to be in the form of seller financing where the title has been handed over, or could it be, could he show a lease option that, hey, I have a lease option on this property, I'm servicing that note?
When it comes to refinancing, if he's still on title, he will do the refinancing on his own.
I don't know if he's refinancing that house or what he's doing, but I know he's going somewhere to do something, right? He must be looking for some money because he's.
So then it'll just show on his credit report in his favor. One, he's paid off a second, and two, he has an on-time payments on the first that he's currently. Yeah, it will count against him in terms of his debt to income ratio, but you know, as long as he can show that he has a lease option tenant that has been paying consistently on that property, he's going to be fine.
Got it. And the other way around, if it's a seller finance deal, he could show proof of that as well.
Yeah,
hey,
that as well. Yeah, where he's acting at the bank on the note.
Got it. These things help, right? Because when I'm talking to him, because I'm trying to help him at the end of the day, I'm trying to problem solve for him. So
absolutely. I think you're definitely on the right track. I'd love to, you know, if I can do of any help, you know, definitely, you know, be sure to reach out or whatever. I can help you, you know, look at the numbers and structure it correctly. The main focus always being solve their problem.
Thank you, Victor.
Yeah, solve their problem and then extract your chip.
Yes,
that's all we do. We solve their problem and we extract our cut. That's what we do. So if you guys can see, the man of the hour has decided to join us, which is always real cool. Don't try to hide now. We see you, buddy. We see you. Hey, Claude, how you doing, my friend?
How are you? Happy New Year, everyone.
Same to you, my friend.
Happy New Year.
How are you feeling, Victor? You look fantastic.
I think I'm at 98.3% right now.
Okay. What do you need to get? What do we need to do to get you to 100?
Oh, just when this next deal closes in the next couple of days, I'll be fine.
Okay, sounds good. I've been listening. You know, it's so refreshing. I mean, listening to you guys in these role plays and everything. It was great. I really enjoyed it. I particularly took notes, by the way.
Of course you did.
I like the part about you were talking about weasel clauses.
Oh. Yeah,
I like that. Great role plays, though. Role play Wednesday is genius. This is just great.
Yeah, I love this. Everybody who joins us, and you know, the fact that you jump in here every Wednesday and kind of, you know, give us your little take. But everybody just brings so much value. We get so much out of listening to each other's issues, finding out where our, you know, different challenges are in terms of putting deals together or responding to particular questions. It's just, there is no better opportunity than getting a whole bunch of people that are in the same game to kind of help solve each other's issues, right?
Exactly. We talk about the one thing that I don't know of any other gurus, real estate trainers, anybody else talks about. To me, sales is the $1 million skill. I always say that. You could have the best leads. You could have a super marketing program. You could be a genius as you are in finance and in the contracts and in all the different aspects of real estate. But all that doesn't matter if you can't get another human being to think that you're a decent, honest person, that you in one phone call, can you get that can you convert that person and get them to say yes? I do this all the time, and I'm not patting myself on the back because I used to be a horrible sales guy who just gave very intellectual presentations, and then we got the gobble, and then we got the yeah. So sales is, and we're the ones, and you guys on Wednesdays and what we do on Mondays and Beer with Claude on Fridays and the private sessions and everything that you do with Justin and that I do. this role playing is so essential for going to the bank.
Yeah.
You can focus on your VAs, on your all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, can you get on that phone with just maybe 1 or 2 people a day? That's it. I keep it real. I'm a KISS method guy. Can you get on that phone with a few people and do like you were doing these role plays? I was listening. You're getting up there in the stratosphere, man. You're getting really good at these closings.
I listen to all your material, man.
It's so much psychology and empathy. I love that word. And a little bit of acting ability, not to manipulate them in a negative sense, but to make them comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sir, can I get that contract back? If I send you that with the price and terms today, can you get it back to me at 4:30?
Mm-hmm.
Can we move forward? It's okay to say no to me, which have you ever met a salesperson who told you to say no, to fire them? I'm still waiting.
Right. Yeah.
I'm still waiting.
That's
So
good.
these are the skills that
you in there a little bit more. I haven't been using that enough. I'm gonna drop that in there. You'll see next week.
Yeah. Well, when you do that move, think about the psychology behind it. When you go to a prospect and say, listen, can we do, Mr. Walker, do you want to do this deal today? Are you ready to buy or sell or invest? Is this something you're comfortable making a commitment on today?
Oh yeah, I'm ready, Claude.
Well, that's fantastic. I like dealing with a serious person, stroke, nurture, on there. And so what do you need from me in order for us to do a deal today? I like to do either price or terms. 2 words I don't see enough to you guys, by the way, price or terms, because I heard some of your role plays about giving can we do a deal? Question for you guys. Can we do a deal with giving the prospect full price?
We can.
Well, really? Because all the other gurus say we need to get a better price or a lower rent or anything. Can we do a deal with full price?
We can do a deal with full price.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If we get control, it's all about leverage, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's all about getting control of that agreement.
Oh, can I have an amen after what he just said, please? Oh, if we can get control of a good home in a good neighborhood,
mm-hmm.
even at full price, but with good terms.
Yep.
Do we have a piece of paper and we get it embodied in a nice little piece of paper? Do we have something of value we just created?
Yeah. Yeah.
We can create so much money and not be adversarial with Mr. Prospect. I'll give you full price.
Yeah.
If you can give me terms. Owner finance, can you hold your equity in a note? Can we do a rent to own, sir, and an option agreement? Can we make this land sale contract or subject to your existing mortgage? Can we do something like that, sir?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get some kind of money on a monthly basis and you get the rest of your money at full price. Maybe, I don't know if savings 3 to 6%, if that's important to you.
Right.
Would you like me to throw in how about we pay the closing costs too? We put that in the contract. If I made you an offer like that, Mr. Walker, how would you feel about that? What would you say to me next?
I would say write it up. Let's get it going.
Which means?
I like what you're saying.
And?
Let's do it.
What?
I said, let's do it.
I have a big mouth, but every now and then I get pretty smart and I say, and what, which means.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't have to answer everything in this full paragraph, this full sentence, do we?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys are just watching, just the skill level that he has and just the nuance of what he does in terms of making you close him, even in the slightest ways, even like, I'm sorry, what? You've literally, like if it was a tennis match, now he has to return it over the net. He doesn't want to hit it into the net, right? So just that little psychological trickery, I would say trickery, that sounds kind of offhanded, but just kind of, a maneuver which engages him in now tying all of this together and feeling like he was part of the decision. That's what keeps you from getting ghosted. That's what keeps them in the seat at 5 o'clock when you get back together, as opposed to coming up with all kind of stuff, because now they have been invested in the conversation and they feel like they made the decision. Am I on track with that?
Yeah. We have to make what do you want? How do you want that prospect to feel while you're talking to them and when they get off the phone? What do you want them to say about Mr. Walker?
I want him to say that guy. One, he knew what he was doing. He was he was friendly. He sounded like he cared about me. He wasn't trying to hoodwink me and pull the wool over my eyes. He sounded like somebody I could trust. It sounded like somebody I might even be able to hang out with outside of this.
And probably the most important thing that I don't speak enough, it's in my book, the Guts Book of Rules, which I think we're going to talk about next Monday, by the way, all the different rules. But the most important rule is that the salesperson always comes first. Even if a lot of people say no to me, I'm not some Svengali who closes everybody. Believe me, I don't.
Right.
But I close a fair share, a lot more than when I used to not understand how to sell. Yeah. But even when someone says no to me and we have a good conversation, they're not ready. The money's not there, the motivation, everything is not there. And they say no to me, but we have a nice adult to adult conversation and I feel good getting off the phone. Does that leave me stimulated enough to go to the next call?
Yeah.
And that to me is, here's the problem I see in business. If we're all kitchen table, we all are kitchen table millionaires. Okay. We do all the work ourselves before we get the staff of 50 that the other gurus talk about.
Yeah.
We make those phone calls. If we get the kicked out of us all day long, who wants to do that on a regular? That's the death of success. But if you feel good about yourself and you have a semblance of control with a prospect, you can make more phone calls. You stay motivated.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so important to me to make you guys have the skill set so you can make call after call.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you have to control your energy. You have to control your enthusiasm. You cannot allow somebody to take that from you with negativity or all of that. So you have to know when to cut the cord on some of these things. If somebody's going down someplace that you don't want to go with them, end the conversation because it costs you too much. Maybe not in that conversation, but in the next one and the one after that and the one after that in terms of where you are mentally, emotionally.
Yeah. Can we fire the prospect? Are we allowed to dismiss? Can you imagine the salesperson firing the prospect? And sometimes, by the way, when you fire them, we kind of invoke the psychological trigger of scarcity. Let's do a role play. Who's a volunteer here? Horace Cyrus, you're good. Jump in here, Horace.
My man.
Cyrus is good in role plays.
Oh my God, he's awesome.
Horace, you get to fire me. Horace, you're a great guy, and and I have a lot more questions. I know we've been on the phone here for 35 minutes, and you've been nothing but generous. And I just have about 8 or 9 or maybe 10 more questions for you, buddy.
Clyde, I'm sorry. I gotta take the wife to the dentist. I mean, she's grimacing in pain sitting in front of me, and I can't even look up at the screen because I'm gonna see her, and I gotta go, Clyde. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I know money's an issue for me right now, but I think in the near distant future I can fix things, and I'm going to talk to my wife about doing this maybe in June or July of 2024. But I got a lot more questions for you.
Clyde, I appreciate that you have a lot of time, and my wife, she don't have much time at all. So here's what I could do now.
She's only going to the dentist. You make it sound hard. Oh my God, she's only getting a cleaning, for God's sakes.
And that being said, Clyde, it seems like this is not too important for you, and
it's real important, and and you're just a great guy and everything. Just maybe 1 or 2 more questions. How about how much rent do you think I could charge on this property?
Clyde, that's a great question. What were you looking for?
Oh, I don't know. It's a $200,000 property and it's free and clear. I got it from grandma. Do you think I can get $1,000, $1,500 for it?
Clyde.
What am I doing? What am I doing to poor Horace here right now? Am I doing what every prospect tries to do to us?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Try to take control.
Try to take control.
Here's a question for you, Horace. Does the prospect have an excellent system that usually works like I'm doing here?
Yeah, just keep asking questions.
Yeah.
And try to beat you into submission.
Yeah. So what's the best way to get rid of a prospect?
You know, we're all waiting now.
Yeah.
everybody's like,
go ahead. Let's reverse the role, Horace. You be me and I'll be the salesman. Go ahead.
Claudia, I really want to do this. It's just, I got so many more questions for you.
Oh, good. Well, you know what? I'd like to help you with those questions. Why don't we do this? Doesn't sound like we're going to do a deal together right now, but I know you value my time. Suppose we set up a consultation at 12:30 today. I'm going to charge you a very reasonable fee. What card would you like to put that on today?
You see, I got my checking and my savings, Clyde. I probably got about $20, Clyde. Does that work? $20. Can we do that?
$20 is that going to be on a credit card or something?
Credit. Do you take Cash App, Clyde? I might be able to Cash App you.
I don't know how we can do cash. I'm in Colorado and you're in Texas.
I'm down here in Florida, Clyde.
Florida, same thing. Okay. I'm going to charge you a flat fee of $1,000 to consult with you. That'll include 2 hours of my time, and we can solve this problem. Are you ready to do business, or should I leave?
Clyde, if we could do 100 and we could do it for 30 minutes, is that something that we could do, and I could just get a little bit of your time, Clyde?
Let's pretend for a moment I was crazy enough to accept an offer like that. How would you pay me? Now,
I'll send you
no carrier
a
pigeons.
gift card.
No.
Gift card.
A person of your means, Mr. Cyrus, must have a credit or debit card, Venmo, PayPal, something like that, right?
Yeah, we could do something like that. A PayPal.
You pick. Can you send it to me right now? If I was crazy enough to accept that offer,
I could get it to you in the next 30 minutes.
You're a gentleman, and I know you're a man of your word. What about the other $900 you'll owe me? How did you want to pay that?
Could we do that in the next year or two? So we could do that.
Which year did you? 21, 22, 23? You pick.
21.
No, we can't wait that long, sir. But maybe we can work some off the role play. Okay. Even though I wasn't going to accept his offer, what did I do up front? By the way, the way to get rid of somebody real fast on the phone is just ask him for money, right? Right, Felipe?
Yep. Yeah. I thought he was going to just step off right there. That's what I was looking for him to do. He'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not paying you for anything. Thanks anyway.
Exactly. Always ask for money. Money is the ultimate decider. And that's how you get off the phone. But even though the offer is ridiculous, because we get crazy offers sometimes, don't say no right away. Say, oh, if I just imagine, remember that word imagine, it's very useful. I use it 100 times a day. Imagine for a moment I was crazy or I accepted that offer. How would you pay me next? Then you listen acutely and you hear, does he backpedal and get out of that whole thing because he didn't know you would accept it and he's scared now? Or do you have a premise to negotiate some more, but you know he can pay you something?
Right. Now you qualified him.
Yeah. And so then you find out, okay, well, now and by the way, Horace did a great job here right now. Round of applause for Horace. The thing about it is, sometimes you can't do a deal. You don't want to do a deal, but can you get a consulting fee like Horace and I just demonstrated?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to take over, Victor. You were doing a great job here. I'm sorry.
Oh no, this is not taking over. This is just adding to.
It's so much fun. I love talking about sales and things like that.
How can we tell?
Yeah, absolutely.
How can we tell, right?
Are we going to have a good 2021? Forget about the politics. Forget about the COVID. Are we going to all go to the bank this year? Say yes, please.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. It's going to be one of the best things ever.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah. Hey, Felipe, how are you, my friend? Look at
how's everything? Happy New Year.
Same to you. Same to you. Hosea, y'all have managed to sneak in here too.
I snuck in at the end. I was on my commute, but I said, this is my beginning of this year.
Let's go.
There you go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Can I share two things really quick that are very important?
Let's do it.
Not that important, but I discovered one of my students called me yesterday and told me about a new social media application called, anybody here of Clubhouse?
Yes.
Yes. It's the latest, greatest.
Yeah, I'm gonna fool around with that and see what happens. It's strictly audio. You can start your own little group. I did a little research on it yesterday, and there was one fella, Real Estate 101. I don't know who he is, but he was on for like 4 or 5 hours, and he must have had about 250, 300 people following him live on that. Do you think there's a chance to generate leads or prospects when you're giving out information, content marketing? So that's something new for 2021.
You go update us on your findings?
Yeah, I will. I'm going to fool around with it. I might even go on it later today. The other thing, which is very, very important, please, nobody watch Wonder Woman on HBO Max. It is the worst movie ever made. It is the biggest waste of time.
Even though it's Gal Gadot?
I don't care.
I can kind of look at her just because.
Well, she's very pretty. You can't get away. But she's not worth 2 hours and 20 minutes pretty. You know what I mean?
She's not that pretty.
So I thought that was important enough to share because nobody needs we don't need to waste more time, do we?
Oh man, hey guys, we're at the top of the hour. Hey, thank you all for showing up again today. Sorry about the last couple of weeks, and I really appreciate all of your support while I was going through my little COVID thing. So I'm on the other side of that, and now I have antibodies. Yoo-hoo!
There you go.
and big round of applause to Victor. What a great job he does.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Claude, appreciate you jumping in here. Felipe, next time, man, we're gonna give you a little bit more time so you can I know you always got something because you're always on the phone, so you always got some feedback for us. So we definitely hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I wanted to share with the guys, if you guys, and this is a free thing that I found, but it's pretty amazing. It's called the 66-day challenge. By the guy that wrote The One Thing, the Jeff Woods, I think is that book that was Gary Keller, and it's like pick one thing that you're gonna do over the next 66 days that it's gonna make a big difference in your life. I set up myself a goal of making no less than 20 calls and send 20 text messages to prospects
a day,
no matter what, because this is the year where we need to build our pipeline. This is the year that it's gonna make it or break it. Believe me, this is gonna be a great year. Times have changed, so find out what's gonna be the one thing that it's gonna change your life. At least I would say, if you want to really get serious about implementing guts and talking to people, make the commitment to make your calls and hold yourself accountable to it.
Felipe, can you call mine?
Yeah, I'll be happy to. But what's in it for me? I mean, let's imagine for a moment. I was to call your prospects. What would happen next?
Hey, do they have I'm assuming they have a .com, right? A 66daychallenge.com or something like that.
Yeah, I'll send you guys a link.
Okay,
that's fine. I'll send you guys the link. And but anyway, this is great. I'll see you guys next Wednesday.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate everything. Does anybody have any last questions before I go? Nope. We're all good?
Yep.
All right, guys. Much love. Let's go make some money this week.
Thank you, Victor.
See you next week. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Claude.
All right.